Hey guys, happy 2022. I wanted to touch base with you all and just kind of check in. I admittedly had the biggest temptation to drink tonight. I've just been experiencing a lot of anxiety and just different pressures and issues and things that I wanted to talk about because I am all about becoming aware of your triggers and learning what makes you want to drink, and not just becoming aware of those things, but figuring out with yourself and with others, if you have support, how to work through those triggers versus just saying, oh, well, I'm triggered, so I'm going to just do it. I'm going to give in and I'm going to drink. Now, I've gotten to a place where, like my husband is aware that, I don't want to drink. And so he's very supportive of me in that. Well, I don't really actually carry it out when I have these urges because he's right there to be like, no, we're not doing that. And I'm like, all right, you're probably right. I shouldn't do that. And we're not going to do that because I'm not going to the liquor store. So unless you're going to the liquor store for me, then we're just not doing this. So I felt like I wanted to drink tonight. And I said, why do I want to drink? And I realized that I was having a lot of anxiety going on. I was feeling very anxious. Was feeling very unsettled. Was feeling uneasy. Just not grounded. Not grounded in the slightest. And that's a huge trigger for me. When I feel like I am uprooted, when I feel like I'm not on solid ground, when I feel like things are just too unstable for whatever reason, I want to drink because I don't want to feel unstable. I want to drink because I want to feel grounded and rooted. And alcohol doesn't actually make you grounded and rooted in anything, but it at least calms the feeling of not being grounded and rooted in anything. That makes sense. So while it doesn't fix the problem, it gives you the illusion that you've calmed the feeling at the very least. And so I think to myself, okay, how can I bring groundedness and calm and peace and stability to my life without having to go drink? And this takes a little bit of effort. It takes a little bit of work to actually sit there and have that inner dialogue with yourself, to write it down, to say it out loud, whatever, but to acknowledge in some way, I need to find a way to ground myself right now because I'm feeling not grounded. I'm feeling all over the place. I'm feeling unstable. The thoughts are racing. The thoughts are always going to be racing, at least for a time. So bringing yourself down to a place where you can feel calm enough to not give in to the temptation to temporarily calm it all with alcohol. For me, what really helps is deep breathing, looking forward to a quiet moment to myself. I have 4 children, so, a lot of my anxiety, stems from being a mother and just being overstimulated at any given time. I mean, all throughout the day, people are touching me, people are jumping on me, people are jumping up and down and yelling and screaming and making noises. People want me to make them food. I need to change diapers. It's just a constant give. And if you're not depositing back into yourself, you feel very depleted. And so I often do. And I will talk myself through that a lot throughout the day. Give your kids the best and know that eventually, hopefully, if they're like mine, they will go to sleep and you will have a few hours to yourself. But I am very much, especially with being a mom, I am very, very overstimulated a lot of the time. I just when people are coming at me too frequently and shoving toys in my face and just yelling and asking me questions on repeat over and over again, it triggers my anxiety. And so my nails lately, I used to be a nail biter when I was very young, and I managed to ditch the habit for a little while in my 20s, and it came back with a vengeance the last couple of years, just from being a new parent again, having all of these anxieties and responsibilities and things going on. So when I start to feel overstimulated at some point during the day, I will just nail bite like crazy. It's my go-to. Like, I'm really anxious and really nervous and feeling unstable and feeling out of control right now. So I need to, like, take that out on my fingers right now. I know there's a lot of other people out there who are like that. I do have a daughter who's a nail biter as well. It's a nervous habit, it's an anxious habit, and it's hard to stop when you aren't managing your anxiety. If the anxiety persists, so does the nail biting. Deep breathing has helped me a lot. Looking forward to a positive thing helps. Telling myself at the end of the day, you get to take a hot shower, or at the end of the day, you get to do this for yourself or do that for yourself, and sort of rewarding yourself in a positive way that doesn't include drinking. And I've said this before, in order to get there, right, you have to value yourself enough to want to give to yourself positively and in a healthy way, versus wanting to drown your sorrows in booze. It's coming from a place not of loving self, right? So self-loving actions would be, okay, at the end of the day, I'm going to do this for myself. I'm going to reward myself with that. That's coming from an intention of self-love. That's coming from a place of caring for self. Alcoholism comes from a place of self-sabotage, and often not intentionally, but it also comes from a place of, I don't value myself enough or care enough about myself to care how harmful this is to me. You're not thinking of what's in your best interest. That's where the dysfunction and the addiction comes from, is that lack of, I should be caring for me. I should be caring for me. I should be loving me. I should be tending to my needs. I should be showing myself compassion right now. I should be loving on myself the way that I would want, God to love me, or the way that I would want a friend or a loved one or my spouse to love me. Start to just play that script out a little bit and see how uncomfortable it makes you feel to love yourself. It made me feel insanely uncomfortable. I was like, this is weird, But then the more that I did it, I realized there was friction, there was tension there. I had a problem with loving me. I was so programmed to just hate on myself constantly. I had no idea that addiction was tied into that, and it was. And so practicing that self-love and that talk to yourself, like, I am worthy of sobriety in this moment. I am worthy of healing in my body today. I am worthy and deserving of love and true, light, bright, radiant light, and purity and goodness and all the good things that you could think of. Just truly beginning to let that seep in some way, even if it feels phony and fake at first. You have to start to expose yourself to the fact that you are lovable and that you can feel that love toward yourself as a means to heal and a means to ground what is feeling so unstable and anxious within you. A large percentage of alcoholism cases come from anxiety and feelings of unease, feelings of wanting to calm something that refuses to calm, wanting to numb and dull and put away something that's constantly forcing its way up to the front. And it's understandable. It's understandable. The psychology behind wanting to get drunk, it's understandable. there are feelings that we don't want to feel. It's our fight or flight. It's our survivalist, we don't want to, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And I know if I drink this, then I don't have to experience the things that I don't want to have to deal with right now. And then we get to a self-awareness that only takes us so far, right? So a lot of us will come to this place where we're aware that there's an issue, and we're aware that we don't have control over the issue, and we're aware of kind of like maybe a few triggers here and there and like basics, how it works. But we still do it anyway because we haven't gotten to the place of love. We haven't arrived at love for self. I've been in some pretty rigid and tough religious communities recently that they look at self-love in sort of like this selfish, self-consumed way. There are other people that believe that only the love of God is healing and worthy of entering into our hearts and our space. I may ruffle a few feathers when I say this, but I believe that how we view ourselves is equally as important as the love that we choose to receive from God or any other person. Because at the end of the day, you are all you have, right? Outside of God, of course, you are all you have. You walk around with you all day. You think inside your head. You are with you all the time. And so for people to encourage people to not lean into being kind to yourself, it's backwards to me, because I think we need to be the most kind to ourselves, for that very reason, that we are with ourselves all the time and we understand better how we operate than anyone else. And so that's been an eye-opener for me, is learning to love and to show appreciation for my strengths and my gifts. And interestingly enough, the more that I love myself and the more that I'm able to calm myself as a result of giving love to myself, the better I am able to then pour, it's like an outpouring. I can then love others more effectively. I can be more sincere with others. I can be more humble and more compassionate with others, because I am coming from a settled place where I love me and I am grounded in me. One of the other things that I have always struggled with is perfectionism. I don't know where it originated in my life. But I've always felt like I needed to be perfect. Anytime I've heard people say like, oh, give yourself grace, or, you have a lot of great things going for you, just don't beat yourself up and this and that. For me, I just kind of want to tell those people to go away. I don't actually say that, but it's what I'm thinking, because they don't understand my mental framework. They don't understand where I'm coming from. Like, it's not as simple as just telling someone to not beat themselves up. That's going to cause them to all of a sudden miraculously stop beating themselves up, right? Same way that, if someone is a perfectionist and someone wants to do everything by the book and do it to the best of their ability and to have it turn out perfectly, telling them, oh, mistakes happen, just do your best, that's not going to satisfy, right? Well-intentioned people and their advice and their comments, over the years, I've grown more and more impatient with, I guess, or intolerant of, because again, you are the only person who understands you the best, right? So take the time to get to know yourself intimately. Take the time to get to understand where all of this is coming from, because truthfully, it's not going to take much before you start to realize your thoughts, where you're coming from, what's bothering you, how you got to where you got, in a thought process, how to bring yourself back. I think that it's also very important to take with a grain of salt the advice, the opinions of other people. And when something that's coming from someone else feels like too much, set a boundary. Set a boundary for yourself, because the last thing you need is people pissing you off and spiraling you into something you don't need to be in. So, very important to set boundaries and to know what things bother you, what things trigger you, what things upset you, right? Because you're not perfect. None of us are. We're healing. Things are going to upset us as we heal. Things are going to piss us off. Things are going to remind us of other things. Situations are going to remind us of other situations. You know, we have to be smart. We have to understand at minimum, at base minimum, what some of these things are that are super upsetting and drive us to drink, so that we can avoid them, so that we can be smart about how we spend our time, who we talk to and how much, how far into a conversation we're willing to go with someone before we say, okay, I can't surpass this point. It's going to make me feel a certain type of way. For me as an empath, God knows how much of a struggle it is, truly, to set boundaries, and especially with other people's energies and emotions. You know, recently on Facebook, I've been adding a lot of new friends. You know, I've been getting a lot of friend requests. For me, it's just like the content coming from all angles, from all these different people and all their different thoughts and all their different photos of all their different, you know, their families and their trips and their things and their, you know, I have to set a boundary with social media, because I know it's too much. It's overstimulating, and it causes me anxiety. And when I feel anxiety, I don't want to feel anxiety. So what do I want to do? To stop feeling anxiety, I want to drink. You know? And having that awareness has allowed me to regroup, to shift, and to draw boundaries where I need to draw boundaries. It's healthy. We don't have to just plunge into things that make us feel like shit and stay there, especially when we recognize, even in small part, that they are causing us to want to drink. Understand what makes you feel that way and avoid it, if at all possible. I mean, I know that in the beginning this is very challenging, especially when you've been binging. I mean, there is no clarity at all whatsoever in a mind that has been binging for weeks, months on end. I mean, you're unstable as a baseline. Just, you need time. You need time to sober up. You need time to allow your body to heal, for your hormones and your, you know, for your body to somewhat realign, come back to normal, adjust to not having the alcohol there on a daily basis. I'm gonna cut the video here. I just wanted to touch base, let you know that I'm here and I am not drinking. But man, there are some days where I want to. I really do. Where I would love to go and get a huge bottle of red wine and just grab a glass off the top shelf and pour myself a glass and sit in front of a TV for the next 3 hours, sipping wine at rapid speeds. You know, throwing back a glass in like 5 minutes and then getting a second one like it's nothing. But I know what that would do to me. It would make me feel terrible tomorrow. And I would feel terrible emotionally for giving up on myself again. And I would feel like I failed. And I would know that I was a stupid idiot who made that mistake. And I played with fire again after a decade and a half of realizing that that's not going to work. It's just not gonna work. It ends the same every time. You drink, you get hungover, you feel like shit, You feel guilty. You feel shame. I mean, you repeat it the next night and the next night, and you keep telling yourself, I'm going to stop soon, but you don't. And some of us have been trying to do this so long that just the guilt and shame from trying to quit alone, never mind actually drinking. The failure that we feel, giving up on ourselves, breaking promises to ourselves over and over again, it's real. And that compounded with the drinking itself is just, it's torture. I truly believe that the only way out is through. I really, I say that sometimes. It is proven true for me. You got to go in. You got to go in and you got to look at things that are painful. You got to look at things that are hard. You got to look at things that hurt. You got to look at things that you don't want to look at. You got to do it. You have to deal with the anxiety. You have to deal with the frenzy, with the rapid thoughts, the overthinking, the guilt, the shame from the past. I mean, we have to deal with it. The hurts, the traumas, all of it. The only way out is to work through that. I'm telling you, the only way to calm down what doesn't feel calm in you is to look at what's making you feel not calm. Exposing it. Looking at it as neutral as possible. But at the same time, allowing yourself to feel whatever it makes you feel, instead of masking it with something else. I will be back with you all shortly. I'm going to cut the video here, but I appreciate all of you who watch and comment. It definitely is nice to again and again, realize that these videos have impact and that they help others. So I wish you all a wonderful January, and I will be in touch with you soon.